Jeff, the floor is yours, my good friend.
All right, guys. Well, I'm excited to be here. I thought I would just tell you a little bit about my story. One thing that bio is a little bit outdated. One thing I would like to add to that is that I have developed a passion for working with entrepreneurs, specifically with their health, but also in advancing their careers. Just because I'll touch on this a little bit later. I really do believe that our health is the foundation. If we don't have that, nothing else really matters. Wealth doesn't matter. So my story, we started this company back in 2010, but I've been doing this for a long period of time. And actually, I took a very indirect route to get to where I am, but I think that indirect route led me to where I am. So I didn't believe fitness was a career when I first started out. I didn't believe that was something that I could make a living with. It was something you kind of do on the side. You become a personal trainer and make some extra cash, but then you go get a real job. And so that's how I had treated it for the longest time, even though it was something I was passionate about. And so I pursued a career in marketing and finance, got my degrees, was climbing the corporate ladder, was doing that whole thing. And I started helping people on the side. I coached people with their nutrition and their fitness, and they started to get really good results. And because of that, they started telling other people started contacting me, and just kind of took off organically. And I wasn't quite sure what I needed to do with this or where I could even take it. I didn't want to work at a gym. I didn't want to be somebody that was counting somebody's reps and racking their weights for them. And so I took to the virtual world really before it ever was a thing, at least for fitness, and started helping people online, started coaching people from all over the world. And that's where we've lived ever since. We've evolved greatly in that time. We were one of the first users of ClickFunnels. We got a multiple 2 Comma Club awards, and love that platform. But my focus as an entrepreneur has been more focused on impact than income. And because of that, income has come along with it. My mission really is to try and provide people a real solution rather than most of the bullshit that you see out there, at least in the fitness community. So I don't know how detailed you want me to get here, John, because I can talk for a while.
Yeah. Keep flowing, my man. It's beautiful.
All right, cool. Well, everyone's always interested in scaling. And so when we first started, we didn't really know what to do. And it was my wife and I that started doing this. We were helping people and getting great results, as I said. And it wasn't until we went out to a big conference out in San Diego. We ended up hiring Bedros Keuilian. He was my personal mentor for about a year. I don't know if anybody familiar with him. Bedros Keuilian, anybody know that? He's worth a follow. If you're not following him already on Instagram, powerful entrepreneur and leader. He's actually the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp. That's not his primary business anymore, but it is one of his businesses that he runs. Hormozi's competition. I don't know if he's direct. I would probably call them friends, honestly, but yeah, great guy. Anyway, so he kind of laid the foundation for me as to where I could possibly take this. Because there was really no one to follow, no one to mirror. And so I had to kind of blaze my own trail and figure out how to take this fitness business online, because it was kind of breaking people's brains. They didn't understand, how I could help somebody get fit, even though they lived, a couple states away. So we were able to bridge that gap. Obviously, everybody does that now. 2020 helped that. But we've been able to scale every year over year, at least 20%, usually more than that, just because we've been able to deliver great results, but also be very, very efficient with our processes and having great systems and a great team in place. So we have a team of about, I think it's 18, 19 people, or we actually have 2 setters that we're in training right now that are 2 additions to our team, should bring us up to 21 total. But passionate about helping entrepreneurs specifically, as I mentioned, just because I relate to it. That's my transformation story too. I was never overweight necessarily, but I was a pretty average looking guy. I bodybuilding kind of changed my life, gave me a lot more courage, and allowed me to pursue new things. And it really is what gives me my energy to do what I need to do on the business side and to show up for other people at a high level every single day. So that's what I help other people do now. And we have a great track record. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Oh, John, anything else you want me to touch on?
Yeah, no. So Jeff, do you focus more on helping individuals with their fitness, or do you also help maybe an aspiring trainer, help them learn how to grab thousands of clients as well? Or maybe they're used to in-person training and they're trying to get clients online. Do you do both, or is there one specific?
So our primary business is to the average person, the consumer. I do mentorships with individual trainers. I don't have programs that I do necessarily for that. I actually have some non-competes against me right now, just because I've been a part of some other programs that would prevent me from doing that. But eventually I would like to create a certification. I don't know if I'll ever teach the business side of things outside of one-on-one coaching or mentorships. But that's kind of our setup. But primarily, and all my team is focused on helping individuals get fit.
Got it. And growing up for you, was it always like, I know you said you were pretty much always in shape, right?
I was kind of average. I was never overweight, is the best way to put it.
Got it.
Yeah.
What bodybuilding, like what, family member, or was it just you saw something and wanted to achieve it? Why bodybuilding?
I don't know. I was interested in it ever since I was younger. So family member, yeah, kind of. My mom, I was an 80s kid, and my mom was into aerobics, and I ended up at the gym multiple times, just probably waiting for her to finish. And so that exposure, I think, had some influence on me and created that desire to get fit, build muscle myself. And I actually started, I think the first time I set foot inside of a gym with weights was at the age of 12. And didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm surprised I have all my toes, because I probably would have thought I'd drop a weight on my foot, but figured it out on my own for the most part until I got a little bit older, and just kept evolving from there. But bodybuilding was something I actually didn't think I could ever do. In fact, I didn't get on stage and compete until the age of 30 because I was always kind of a smaller guy. And it wasn't until I went through a divorce and had kind of this major shift in life where I got out of the corporate world, started doing this on my own, and took bodybuilding to the next level. And it wasn't until 9 years later that I actually got my pro card.
Wow.
40
And
competitions.
I guess in the industry, is that normal? Like, do people usually start? Definitely, they're like 20s, they're diving into it, right?
Yeah, I would. Well, most people get started earlier, and most people don't do as many competitions as I have done. I did 40 in total. The 40th one was where I turned pro. I got my pro card in Pittsburgh, and after that, I actually hung it up, called it quits, and that was about 5 years ago.
Wow. So in business, obviously there's setbacks, there's challenges, right? And for me growing up, I wasn't the 6 foot tall dude, super shredded, but I was athletic, right? My father was a Marine, so we did wrestling, my brother and I, right? And growing up, he was super strict on us, and I didn't truly understand why at that age. But as I got older, I started to understand, okay, a lot of the mental battles that I went through in wrestling and in working out, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, all 4 years of high school, a 3-hour wrestling practice, right? Those mental battles helped me in business because starting off, it was me, Mike, and I lived at the office for half a year. So we didn't have like an easy upbringing, I guess I'd say, for the business side, right? So my question is when you started, like, how does your fitness and your business, do they share similarities, or like maybe in like the mindset side for you? Do you kind of carry some of the same? Because eating a diet is extremely hard to follow, right? Staying consistent at the gym, right? How do you kind of balance those with business and find similarities? I think you're muted, Jeff.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there's definitely a correlation. And honestly, I wouldn't be successful in business or probably even my marriage if it weren't for what I learned, the lessons learned in bodybuilding. The discipline that is required with that particular sport, it's hard to compare it to anything else. Just because it's a 24/7 thing. Everything that you eat matters. Everything you drink matters. How much you sleep matters. Even controlling stress. And those are the things that you're doing outside of the gym, right? And all that stuff matters in it. And so it requires a very, very high level of discipline that, I wasn't a military guy, but I've worked with a lot of guys and gals in the military, and they say that this is harder. I mean, that's perception, but harder in a different way, I'm sure, different challenges. But the lessons I learned there, it definitely empowered me to become a lot more extroverted than I was, which, there's a lot of introverted leaders out there for sure. But to do what I do, I couldn't be an introvert and be very successful. Because I have to do webinars, I have to do presentations. I'm going live all the time for my clients, and I'm constantly doing reels and podcasts and YouTube videos. And so it's definitely paid off. It's given me a lot more courage, because I remember the first time I got on stage, I was frightened. I mean, I was very introverted as a young kid, and there's still elements of that to me to this day. But the challenge of getting up there wearing pretty much next to nothing for that first time was big for me. And I learned a lot from that. And ever since then, it's just kind of grown, and now I feel like I could do anything. I mean, I've spoken in front of crowds of, 5,000, I think is the most I've ever spoken in front of. And
Wow.
it's no different than a crowd of 20. Sometimes a crowd of 20 is actually more intimidating, because it's more, it's such a smaller group, and everyone can speak if they wanted to. But no,
Yeah.
as long as I'm passionate about it, I'm going to give it my all.
Absolutely. I love that. So I was going through your Instagram, and I saw you did a challenge for yourself, and it was a 5-week challenge, right?
Yeah.
So that 5-week kid challenge, could you kind of tell everyone like what that was, and like your experience with that and what you took away from it?
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably all familiar with 75 hard, or heard something about it, right? It has very specific parameters, other than it doesn't really define what you're supposed to eat. It just says that you're supposed to follow a diet of some sort. So this was kind of like that, but it was a physical change. It was a physical transformation, but I didn't do it for that. It wasn't for my physical change. I was already in pretty good shape. Anybody that sees that picture would say the before picture looks pretty fit. The after picture is extremely fit. But to get to that point is very, very difficult, because your body fights you every step of the way. But I did it because, I can tell you what it consisted of. So basically what I did was, I would get up in the morning, and I would do 25 minutes of interval training. So it was very, very intense cardio. You're pretty exhausted by the end of that. Midday, I would go on weight train. And then before bed, I would do another 25 minutes of interval training. And I did this every single day for about 40 days. And I also cut my calories down quite a bit as well. But the reason why I did it is because this was a year after I had retired from bodybuilding, and I kind of missed that grind that comes when you prepare for an event like that. And so I did this for myself to kind of, honestly, like, to get my mental mojo back. Because I feel like I had better focus when my body was more aligned with my beliefs and my normal routine. I felt like I was kind of out of my routine. So I used that to kind of self-correct and get me back to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, I seen you did it for New Year's, or like right around January when you started?
I had posted about it, but no, I actually did it. It was like a September to October is when I did it.
Okay. You're just keeping it in the vault, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's beautiful. So your business has been growing for over a decade, right? 13.
Yep.
14. When will that happen? Year 14. Does that happen?
That will, it'll be end of 2024. So
okay. So you've gone through some accolades, obviously you've had a lot of success, and maybe there's been some setbacks, right?
Absolutely.
Let's say tomorrow, Jeff, you got to go and start day one. What do you think you would do differently with the knowledge you now carry? What would you do differently?
Yeah, probably almost everything. I think again, I can apply this to fitness too, because I learned almost everything the hard way, meaning I did it wrong the first time, and it slowed me down, delayed me from getting where I wanted to be. But I think one thing I really lacked at first was clarity. I didn't have a vision of where I wanted to go. And without that, you can't determine what's success and what's failure. I mean, a lot of things feel like failure when you're starting. And a lot of things can feel like success, which you look back on now and you're like, how did I celebrate that? That was nothing, but it's all milestones and steps along the way. But the biggest thing that was missing when I started was that vision. Where the hell can I take this? I don't even know if I want to do this. I mean, I did, but like, I also wanted to provide for my family. I had a family of 5. I got to make sure that we keep a roof over our heads and food in our mouths. And I didn't know if I was capable of doing it through that. So, it's kind of like when you see a before and after with fitness, you see the fat picture and the fit picture, to put it bluntly, but you don't ever see what happens in between. You just think, oh my gosh, it's really easy. They went from here to there, and it's so easy for them. And that's what you think about, like when they say overnight successes with business, it looks like these guys just came out of nowhere. Nobody has ever come out of nowhere. There is so much work that's that's been going on in the background that just people just don't see. And it could be something that they've been working on for years and years and years, and had many, many failures before through multiple businesses or startups or whatever they've done. And they failed until they get one that strikes gold. And it's because of all those failures that they learned from before that they were able to have success with their current project. And that's the one that you see. So the assumption a lot of people make is that, oh yeah, it was an easy path for you. You've had success left and right. You haven't faced any setbacks. I've faced way more setbacks than I have successes. And actually, I probably have a losing record in my bodybuilding career, but nobody remembers me that way.
Yeah. It's the journey is, everything. Right. And if anything, maybe the recognition might come overnight because something can go viral. Right.
Yeah.
But behind it is years of, preparation, and it's everything that, Jeff is speaking on too. You could relate it to really anything in life, right? Even if you're brand new in your sales career, like everyone has a different journey. Okay. So just like, and a lot of you have been in my masterminds too. Everyone's body is different too, right? My body might take carbs well, yours might not. And I'm no, professional trainer, right? Jeff will know more than me, but know a thing or two of what to eat and what not to eat, right? So your page 20 could be my page 2. And what took me a decade, we have some of the students being able to do in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So even for fitness, Jeff, is it true that like genetics can carry someone? Like, does that actually give someone like an advance or, some further ground, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not always an even playing field, but you got to do the best with the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
And that comes with everything. One thing I always say about me is the only reason, because I don't have superior genetics by any means. I mean, they could have been worse. They could have been better. I'm pretty average, but the only reason why I was able to have success in bodybuilding and why I got to the point where I couldn't be beat is because I just didn't give up. That's the only reason. I just didn't stop. And that's one thing that has definitely translated into other areas of my life where I just don't give up. I'm a stubborn guy.
Yeah.
Call it stubbornness, call it perseverance, whatever you want, but it's something that almost everyone that's achieved anything in this life has. They have that perseverance, they have that grit, they have that will to keep fighting no matter what, because everyone faces failures. And it's just a matter of what you do with those failures. Do you let them get you down? Do you dwell on them? Or do you try and learn from them and pick yourself up and keep going? that really is the key. And I think most people in this world let these failures weigh us, it weighs us down and slows us down. And it takes us a long time to get over. And that, I think you're going to have periods of time like that where, yeah, some of those failures really hurt.
Yeah.
They're really bad. It's really significant sometimes. We lost some team members in 2021 that really hurt the business.
Mhm.
We took a step back, but I can say now, like the team that we have in place now is 1000% solid. And it's because of some of the bad hiring decisions that I made back then that led me to change how I hire now.
What are some of the things you look for, Jeff, when you're interviewing someone, or maybe it's a recommendation? What do you look for, say someone wanted to work with you or maybe even be a sales rep for you? What do you look for as a team member?
I think a lot of people would say knowledge and experience. I don't look for those things. I want to make sure they're a good person, that they have integrity. Our number one core value as a company is no bullshit. Because there's just too much of that in this world. Everyone's a fake, and it's hard to get, sincerity out of people. But if they have a great personality, they're a good person, and they can connect with others, you're on my team. The rest of this, the information can be taught. I can't teach somebody to not be a dick, because
Yeah.
or to connect with people. There's skills that you can learn for sure, but some of that's just there or it's not there. So that's definitely one thing that I would say that's my first criteria, is they have to be a good person. They have to be able to connect.
Okay, love that. Beautiful. So I'm gonna go to the questions here in a second. I had one more that I wanted to ask you, Jeff, and for a lifestyle change, some that could be very challenging, right? Take someone who smoked, cigarettes for 4 decades, 2 decades, a year even, right? To just go cold turkey. It's very difficult, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
let's say someone's an individual that maybe they're not used to working out 5 days a week. They're not used to dieting, meal planning, but they have this goal and ambition to get to that lifestyle. What are, as a trainer, what are some of the first things or first steps that you tell someone to take to just begin bridging that gap?
Well, one of our key points that I drive home with my coaches is that we have to meet them where they're at. So everyone's coming to us from a different situation, different background, different capabilities, and so there's no one place that everyone starts from, or like different levels. Nothing's templated. We have to understand, like, okay, where are you at right now? What are you capable of doing? What's your schedule look like? What's your history with dieting? What's your history with any sort of addictions or anything that might potentially interfere? And we design something around that. So somebody that's never worked out before, never really dieted before, we would focus on the very, very, kind of baby steps, honestly. I think it's good to be challenged at times, but I think it's important to have some wins when you first start too. If all I do is show you how to fail, because I could easily do that to anybody. I could give somebody an advanced program and they're nowhere close to that, and they're just going to fail over and over again. I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
So I got to meet them where they're at and give them something that I know that they can win with.
I love that. Yeah. One of the things that I was always that I abide by is I believe there's couple reasons why people fail and quit, but one big one is the gradient is too steep, right? So here's me never working out in my life, and I get my trainer and he's like, cool, gym 5 a.m. Monday through Friday, and we're doing cardio on Saturdays. I'm just like, that it seems so much of like a far gap that
abrupt. Yeah.
Hey, let's try 2-3 days a week, right? 45-minute sessions. Right now, maybe just cut out one sweet out of, and next week we'll work on your soda, go Coke Zero instead of full soda. Then we'll work out on, so gradients is one thing. And I even say with sales as well too, right? Like, hey, you want to close $1 million, let's grab the first deal. Let's grab the first dollar, right? work in gradients, right? And typically that helps people with longevity, because that's something where that's for the goal at the end of the program, I'd say for your clients, right, is alter the life, build a new lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. I love that. Okay, beautiful. So let's go ahead and go to Mr. Juan Vargas. You can go ahead and unmute, sir, and ask Jeff your question.
All right. Thank you for the time. Thank you so much, Chef, for your time. And I really appreciate the fact that you share your story, your background is really impressive. Coming from a fitness background, definitely I can use you as one of my references. So my big question for you is, when you try to get into a B2 business, how you will like proceed with this? Like right now I'm in a phase that I started to go into B2B customers. So how would you proceed? Like it's my first time like doing that.
So we only a small portion of our business is B2B. We do corporate wellness programs for medium to small sized companies, some big ones too. We did a big huge project with Sunrun. They sell solar panels and stuff, but we did a big huge project with them last year actually. Honestly, you just need to get your foot in the door with one person. Because it's usually one or two people that are making the decisions, and you just have to make sure you're showing their value. And everyone's always, they have the attitude of what's in it for me, or how's it going to benefit them. And so I think one thing that we people that are trying to sell often get hung up on is they focus more on features rather than benefits. Like I can say, oh, you get this meal plan and you get these workouts. Well, cool. What does that do for you? Well, it's going to help you build some muscle, help you lose some weight. What's that going to do? Well, it's going to make you more confident. What's confidence going to do? Confidence is going to lead to you closing people better. It's going to lead to you having a better relationship, maybe attracting a new person if you want to. So you have to look at like the benefit of the benefit rather than just features. And I think if it's more benefit driven, because that's really ultimately what people are after, then you're going to get those sales every single time.
Thank you so much, Chef.
You bet.
Beautiful. And Juan, were you saying like, how do you get business clients, or how do you teach other trainers to get more clients? Like, is that what you wanted to ask?
That's a really good question, John. So basically,
maybe I changed the question. My bad. Well, I guess that's that.
If you want
Juan
to
is Juan. Just for some background, Juan, you're a trainer, right?
yes.
Yeah. So Juan is a trainer. He's getting clients. So obviously, who wouldn't want to train, Chris Hemsworth, a big movie star? Who wouldn't want to train, a really big CEO? How do you go about? Is it networking? Is it you DM outreach? Are you cold calling, Jeff? Or how'd you kind of get your first like entrepreneur clients?
You have to go to where they're at. So who has your audience, or which there's a lot of different principles you could follow here. But if, let's say, you are targeting entrepreneurs or a specific type of business owner or something like that, you just need to go to where are they gathered, who are their resources, and if you can form relationships with people that, like, so I have great relationships with some really good business coaches, and because of that, some of my network, I've coached some of the top of ClickFunnels royalty. Literally some of the biggest names that you've heard, just because of, it was actually started with one guy. And then that led to they're all business coaches, and so this talk, and then you help them, one person get results, and it can spread like wildfire. But I think it doesn't hurt to ask those people either. I was like, hey, can you share your story? And typically you don't ask them to like, hey, will you please refer? It's more just like, hey, will you share your experience, share your story? And that comes across a lot more genuine. And because nobody likes to be sold, right? Nobody likes to be sold to. But if you can show them value in something that someone else has experienced or that you've personally experienced, it's going to be a lot more powerful.
Love that. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, Christy.
Okay, cool. I have, I'll try to be as succinct as possible.
Okay.
I want to ask fitness questions, and then I want to ask an entrepreneurial question as well, if that's okay. As far as when you're doing your coaching and you're getting people to hopefully change their lifestyle, do you have a specific modality that you use, or do you take a holistic approach based on the client's issues and problems, and you try to, build a program so that the whole thing is successful versus just tackling one issue?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
And it's something that I would say is a little bit problematic with the fitness industry, because a lot of people do focus on one modality. And I don't think that's the right approach, in my opinion. I think that you have to find what works for the individual, and that's going to vary because we're all unique people. We all have unique backgrounds, unique preferences, unique circumstances. And so I think you have to have a lot of different tools in your toolbox and be able to identify which tool is right for the person. So no, I don't subscribe to any specific one way of doing things. Like, I'm not like a keto guy or an intermittent fasting guy. And there are people out there that's the only thing that they do.
Right.
And honestly, my only warning that I can put out there is if somebody says that this is the best way and the only way that everybody should do it, don't listen to that person. There is no one best. There is no one way. There's so many different ways to get from point A to point B. You just gotta find what works best for you.
Yeah. And, I think being a sugar addict, I am a sugar addict. Okay. So when you're in, not that I've ever been in AA or NA, but when you go to those groups, they tell you stay away from people who drink, stay away from people who do drugs. You cannot stay away from people who eat.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's very difficult because it's your brain that's addicted to the dopamine. It's not you, it's your brain that's addicted to the dopamine. So it's a very hard addiction to overcome.
Yeah. So a lot of food addictions are habit born. There's obviously there's some chemical reactions happening as well. But one of the biggest things you can do to help change habits and change your life really is to change your environment. Now, obviously, as you mentioned, it's a lot different when you're dealing with drugs and alcohol versus food, and sugars and almost everything, right? But you can control like what's in your house, right? And you can prevent yourself from the temptation. If it's staring you in the face, it's going to be a lot harder to resist. That blueberry muffin Kit Kat, which is like my favorite. I love.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, well, it doesn't. I'm just kidding. Don't go get it. It's a lot easier to avoid those things if they're not staring you in the face. Right. And they're going to be around. I mean, you walk down the aisle at a grocery store, you're going to pass some of these things that are going to catch your eye. Right. But, and honestly, if you have people around you that aren't supportive of your goals, talk to them. Genuinely talk to them. Say, hey, I'm really working on this. I need your help. Can I count on you to not tempt me to do these things? Or just, if you're going to eat those things, try to eat them when you're not near me.
Right. Like I hear you. I know. And that, for me, believe it or not, that's impossible because of my living situation, but it is what it is. So I have a question as far as entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial things go. And that is, you said you're on YouTube. So do you allow the ads on your YouTube channel so that you have an income from your YouTube channel? Or do you have another way of creating income from your YouTube channel versus just doing YouTube videos and letting people watch them for nothing?
Well, we are in the process of relaunching our YouTube channel. So at the moment, no, but would I allow them on there? I mean, in the past I did, but I mean, and now that you can get the premium subscription to YouTube, you can bypass those. But but no, I mean, I've actually made a lot of purchases off of YouTube ads. Some of them are spammy, but so there's some great products on there. I mean, everyone's fighting for that dollar, but
Right.
yeah, I would allow, but it wasn't like a substantial income for me. No, I wouldn't use that as a primary source of income.
Okay. And do you have a way of controlling what the ads are? Like you're a health and fitness guy. So if they're advertising Kit Kat bars, that would be kind of, crazy.
I am not. I had a social media manager that was doing all that, so I'm not the person to ask.
Okay. All
I
right.
apologize.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Yeah, YouTube is smart though. Your own YouTube is based off of you. So it's what
I
you're
doubt that
searching-
would show up. I don't.
Yeah, it would, unless you're searching,
Right.
detailed, Kit Kat unboxings. I don't know, maybe.
Right. Or
Right, yeah.
blueberry Kit Kats.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Well,
all right.
my kid thinks they taste like medicine. So
Really? Well, that's a good thing, right?
not in their mind.
No, but I mean, it's a good thing health wise.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christy. Okay, Frederick.
Yes, how everybody doing first and foremost? I pray everybody's doing well.
Doing
I
phenomenal.
do have a question for you, Mr. Jeff.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to start with thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. But I do have one quick question. What is your key to consistency? It seems like you've been doing this for a long time, but what is it that keeps you going consistently?
My why. I think ultimately that's important. I think it was something that was missing at first. So I think it was just pure ambition at first, and almost a fight for survival initially, because I didn't know where I wanted to take it. But with where I'm at now, for how long I've been doing this, I'm going to spin this just a little bit differently, because I've gone through a bit of a journey the last 3 or 4 years, because I hit a point of what you would call burnout a couple of years ago, and it was pretty bad. I mean, just because I'm a very driven guy, and I've talked about this on some forums, but I haven't been super open about it. But I got to the point where I almost felt like sleep was a waste of time, and I was wasting time if I was sleeping. If there was time that I could be working, then why wasn't I working? This meant that I was sacrificing time with my family, sacrificing time with friends, almost shutting off all friends and focusing only on work. And basically I was becoming a slave to my business instead of, or I was serving my business and my business serving me. And I mean, if I hadn't, it's kind of like I needed to hit that breaking point in order for me to make a big shift and a change, in order to change how I ran my schedule. I wasn't very good at delegating, so I just kind of took everything on myself, and all that has changed, because ultimately I want to have a happy and fulfilling life. I want to have a great relationship with my kids and my wife, and that ultimately is what is most important for me, as well as the impact that I have with other people. And that I'm not going to do anybody else favors if I'm not taking care of myself.
Yes.
So my new motto for myself is taking care of myself is taking care of others.
Amen.
And that's one that I've had to adopt. Because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be in business still.
Thank you so
May not
much.
even be alive, honestly. I don't know.
Amen. Thank you so much. I have no more questions.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Frederick. Okay, Armando.
Yeah, hey Jeff, appreciate your time, man. I'm actually an appointment setter for DLR Fitness in Phoenix, Arizona, and my question to you is, what do you tell your setters? Because what I use for the meal plan, when I offer the meal plan, when I let them know that we offer a meal plan with the 6-week challenge, I tell them that just think about when you were a kid, that when you were growing up, you weren't taught to eat right, because society, we're not taught to eat right. We eat fast food all the time. Parents would give us fast food, stuff like that. And that's what I tell the clients or the future member. I tell them that we offer a meal plan to try and get you in a routine to start eating better, because it's not a bad thing to eat good. Because if we were brought up on the meal plans that fitness trainers have, this world would be amazing. Everybody would be healthy,
In a different place.
you know?
Yeah.
And And it's not, they go, oh yeah, I'm really interested, but I don't know how to eat right. So I always tell them that, think about if you start doing it, it's going to become a routine. It's going to be something that you're going to continue to do the rest of your life, because fitness isn't part-time. It's something that you do for a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. You can't just do it for 6 weeks and then after 6 weeks think that you're better. No, you're going to fall back into where you were if you don't continue with fitness. So what do you tell your appointment setters when it comes to the fitness or when it comes to the meal plan? Like, how would you have them not sell, but explain it to a client?
Well, I'm not sure what the offer is for the company that you're working for, but what I tell my people, because the approach that we take is, I tell people that I'm a realist. And, would it be ideal if the only thing you ever ate was unprocessed whole foods 100% of the time? Yeah, probably would. But that's also not very realistic, right? There's family events, there's restaurants, there's things that come with life. There's irregularities and variables that we just don't have control over sometimes.
Right.
And so we like to incorporate foods that they love. And we like to show them how they can make food work from anywhere, as long as most of the food that you eat is serving your purpose, serving your body's health. And so focusing mostly on whole unprocessed foods, but not completely eliminating all those other things, because that's where people fail. That's why people can only follow a diet for about 4 to 6 weeks, and then they fall off because, like, I just want to eat normal again. Right. And that normal that everybody thinks of is usually what, as you said, fast food and treats and stuff nonstop.
Yeah. Well, what I tell them too is, like, when we were brought up, like when we were little, our parents did that. They also told us brush our teeth. Oh, I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't want to brush my teeth. But what do we do now as adults? We brush our teeth, So if we were brought up with eating properly, which we weren't, because there's processed foods and concentrated stuff that's out there. I just tell them, if you change your habits, doesn't mean that you can't go back to those sweets and those things that you like, because you can do that once in a while. But we're not gonna eliminate it. But because, like you said, we are human. Yeah. But just telling them that if they get on a routine and get used to eating it, because if we did that when we were little, like I said, it wouldn't be a problem for people. But it's a problem because they're not used to it.
Yeah, and I think if they experience how they feel and how it impacts their life when they're eating, foods that serve them. And it doesn't mean bland, boring, tasteless foods. I think that's the impression everybody has. Your food,
exactly,
amazing. It can be delicious.
Yeah.
So you have to paint that picture. Otherwise, it's like, well, I don't want to just go on this, chicken and rice diet or, whatever it is.
I tell them that I said the app that they get, there's like thousands of recipes in there from every culture and just variety of things, and there's like, wow, really? And then when they get into it, it's like I reach out to them after and I say, how's it going? They're like, man, you were right. This app is amazing. The recipes are outstanding. I can't believe it. I never knew this stuff existed. So it's like, yeah.
I'd use that in your scripts, like
I do. I tell them the app's amazing. You got it. When you get in there, you're going to be like just blown away that the different cultures. from spaghetti and meatballs. Even though they're turkey meatballs and the turkey tacos, it's just amazing because there's videos also on how to make it. You get we give them a grocery shopping list, and it's just like, it's just like, wow. They're like, wow, really? And then when I tell them, when I reach back out to them, I say, how are you doing? How's the 6-week challenge going? It's like, you were so right, man. That app's amazing. Because when I first saw it, I was scrolling through it. There's like thousands of recipes in there. I'm just like, holy crap.
So I would again, kind of like I was saying earlier, I would really focus on the benefit rather than just the plain feature. It is a feature that all those recipes and stuff, but it's like, what's that going to mean for them? It's going to mean that they can have dinner with their family. It means that they can go out to restaurants with their friends and family every once in a while if they want to, and you're going to show them how to do that. Like that's really like, that's the benefit of understanding food and getting into that routine. And rather than it's like, well, you get 1,000 recipes, like, well, cool, I guess I still have to cook it, and they can come back with against features all the time. But when you hit on the benefits and how it really is actually going to play out in their life and how it's going to impact them, that's where you'll strike that nerve. And
I also tell them that, it'll also give you the fuel and the energy that you need when you're going through the 6-week challenge to help you reach your results. Because if you have a burrito, big super burrito with everything on it, or you have a piece of cake before you come in to work out, it's not going to work. You'll burn it off eventually, but it's not going to give you the energy that you need and that fuel. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And Armando, John, I was going to ask you, do you guys talk about emotional states much, high and low emotional states with selling?
Not too much. Because we teach the 5-step sales process, and the goal in the fact finding is to find the pain point, right? And a lot of so Armando, like what Jeff is saying, and then we'll go, Jeff, if you could speak on that as well, low emotional states. So Armando, what Jeff is saying too, as well, is think of it as selling the plane ticket versus selling the vacation. Oh my gosh, you could go to Expedia.com and look up thousands of flights, and guess what? You get to pack your bag and you get to go through security. And then after you're through security, you get to jump on a plane in between two strangers. And when you're off the plane, hopefully they didn't lose your luggage. Or you could say, Armando, close your eyes and imagine when you open them, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're in the shape of your life that you've ever been in. You feel more confident going to family parties. You feel more confident. Have you ever been, a little self-conscious of going to the pool and leaving your shirt on? Imagine taking it off and be the best, most fit person while in your 50s. Does that make sense, Armando? Like,
yeah. Best version of yourself as well.
Or vacation, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
the vacation needs to be delivered in a way to where it's painted inside. It's descriptive with a visual picture.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because if they can't picture it, they're not going to understand it. Right.
Yeah, I remember you spoke that last webinar. Sell the vacation, not the plane ticket.
Exactly. Right. Because some people, you could lose this sale by, okay, well, 1,000 recipes. I don't cook. I barely take out the trash. My wife does all that. Like, that might not sell them.
Might turn them off. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But
thank you.
Identify your successful actions. So Jeff, what high and low emotional states are? Explain that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like a low emotional state would be somebody that, and I would say different products, it's going to be better for different products versus others.
Yeah.
So like with fitness, it definitely is the target that you're after is somebody that's in a low emotional state, right? So somebody that wants to lose weight and wants to improve their life, they're usually trying to avoid pain, and they're in pain. They're on Hell Island. You're trying to get them to Heaven Island, right? So you're trying to get them away from that pain. So they're in that low emotional state. And a lot of things are like this, right? They're struggling with their finances and they need to make more money. They're in a low emotional state. Whereas a high emotional state is somebody that's they're already like doing pretty good, but they're trying to get better. Right. And I do have a segment of my clientele that are like that, where like somebody that wants to compete as a bodybuilder, they're already pretty fit, but they want to go to that next level. And so you paint the picture of like getting better rather than avoiding pain. And so that's like the difference between high and emotional states, and it changes the messaging dramatically. Also, I mean, there's something to be said about low emotional state prospects aren't always the best clients. Whereas high emotional state ones are usually better. I mean, I found that to be true, but it depends on the product that you're selling, that might be unavoidable. No, you're muted now too, John.
Yeah, I think this is for any product, any service. A lot of what's not really pressed on is why now? Why do you want to get in shape now? Why is it important for you now? And guess what they're going to tell you? Exactly why. And then, there you go. Then you could just press on that point there, right? So yeah, definitely. We I think we use the words more like high tone, low tone for that. Okay. So like a lower tone person's like sad, like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I think my wife told me I should do this fitness program, and she sees me on the couch, so definitely understand and relate to that. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Jeff, phenomenal. Thank you so much for the training. We appreciate it. It was good connecting with you directly, and I look forward to having you on again soon. And that spot in San Diego is open if you want to come down and sit down with me and Mike in person. So let us know.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's been a blast.
Appreciate your time, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Everybody have a wonderful, blessed day. Amen.
Let's go.
Thank you, Jeff.